We good?
1 second.
It is
Waiting for
actually-
YouTube to boot up. All right, man. So this is episode 10 of the Shipmates Sports Podcast. We've been on hiatus, Joseph.
Yeah.
How about that? Some people have been working, some people have been married,
Hey, buddy, listen.
you know?
We gotta do what's right until we blow up.
We have not been at this since basically for the whole of football season. We pretty much missed, right?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. We wanted to get rolling into this, and then we had some things come up which were a detour. But I think we're on a trajectory where we can know moving forward what's going on there. Sorry, some feedback. Like I said, we're on a trajectory. We're figuring things out, and I think moving forward, we're gonna be in line of what we want to do, which is a weekly podcast. And we'll try to get it out there and try to get our viewership up. You know what I mean, Mike?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's tough to try to balance, life and I think we still pay attention to the sports world. Sometimes it's just kind of like you're trying to juggle a few things and some things fall by the wayside. You gotta
Right.
Some's gotta take a hit. You gotta take the hit somewhere, and this is kind of like, where we took our hit. So
Right.
anyway, man, all that being said,
I'm gonna cut you off. We had an emergency. I called you up. I called you up and said, Mike,
Joey FaceTimed me, and I was like, this must be important.
whatever you're doing, put it away. Get your computer out. We gotta go, Mike. We gotta go. Tom Brady has announced his retirement, Mike. The greatest football player in the history of the sport, the greatest winner in the history of all sports, has hung him up. What do you think, Mike? What's your initial takeaway?
It's weird because, I thought, based on how the season ended, that I thought he was going to come back for another one. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we said at the end of last year, the story came out about him playing through the playoffs with the MCL.
Right.
You know what I mean? And everything like that. And I remember we had this conversation and we talked about how this might be Tom Brady getting ready to retire. Right. He's TB12, taking care of his body. Yep. It seems like maybe this is an indication, maybe, of his body breaking down. Right. MCL, it's the knee, man. That takes out athletes all the time.
Yep.
Right now, maybe he has access to some better medical treatments or something of that nature. But I mean, he's also getting older as well. So you take these things into account. He's won 7 Super Bowls at that point, right? He just got done winning his 7th, and his first one in Tampa, and and the season's getting longer, right? So it's more time away from the family.
Yep.
Now they're in Florida, so I mean, it's a little bit easier. Actually, maybe not that it's a little bit easier, but down here in Florida, where there isn't snow currently.
Yeah. But I did hear it's pretty cold down there right now, though. I mean,
it is cold. It's in the 40s. Hold on, I got on my watch here. Yeah, it's in the 40s, 48, something like that. But
so it's cold. It's cold. We've had this discussion. Cold is cold.
Yeah, right? Cold is cold. If you're cold, it doesn't matter where you have 80 degrees is cold to you, then you're cold. I would argue that for most people it's not, but whatever. It's a feeling.
That's right.
It may be part of him being in Florida, being in Tampa, is the feel of it, right? There's a lot of retirement down in Florida, down south, everything. A lot of people move south, enjoy the weather, don't have to do the shoveling every winter, stuff like that. Maybe that kind of ties it. There's nothing really left for him to accomplish.
Nope.
What else is there? You're not going to go 17-0, right? It's going to be harder to find that perfect season.
Yep.
You're not going to do it with Tampa, right? It's a good team. It's a good. It's still, even without Tom Brady, they're still a good team,
right?
Or less, right? But you still have a lot of players on that team who can contribute to winning. Whatever. That beside the point. I think that I think that he knows what we all know, and that's like you're getting older, you've done it all. It's been 22 years, right?
We were speaking the other day, and it was a lot about the family and whatnot. I mean, at some point, like you were saying, at some point, it's just got to become, what do I have left? I have nothing left to accomplish. Me and you have talked about in the past that I believe he wanted a perfect season, but it's impossible, Mike. It really is. The perfect season's impossible. It's not going to happen. They came really close, and they didn't get it done. And that was like Mike. Can you believe it's almost 14 years ago now? Holy moly!
Bro, that's
we had hair.
How is it up there in Boston, man? I mean, all the winning. What do you do with yourself?
Well, there hasn't been much of that recently, Mike. Which I want to get into later. I mean, I've had some heated discussions with people about the trajectory of the Patriots, but we'll save that for a little bit later. Because we're kind of going with a blank slate here, which it was basically to get us in was Tom Brady, and we'll roll into some other stuff later. I want to ask you, the history of sports, where does Tom Brady rank? And I'm talking sports across the board. Where does he rank among the all-time winners to you?
So who are like the most winningest athletes?
So I mean, if you win
right.
by sport, right? Wouldn't you say Jordan in the NBA?
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe Gretzky in hockey.
Yeah, because he was on those Oiler teams. You look at baseball. You're looking at the Murderers Row Yankees. You're looking at Ruth Gehrig, those guys, Berra. But I think
it's harder to do in football.
It really is, especially in the modern day NFL with parity. We got a comment. He's not even top 3 in New England.
That was Bobby Orr. Bill Russell or somebody over there in Boston.
So my dad's commenting right now.
I love your dad, man. He's the best.
So, yeah. He's got a little bit of a Boston slant to him, but in all seriousness, now I just got to say, to me, in the era that he's done it, it puts him apart from everybody else. It set him aside from Jordan. He passed Jordan. He passed Gretzky. Bill Russell won 11 championships. I believe it was a much different NBA at that point.
There was like 10 teams or whatever. And
talent wise, it wasn't nearly what it is right now. It's just, he's done it. And not only did he do it with the Patriots over 20 years, he leaves, he goes to a Tampa Bay team that was just awful before he gets there.
He was replacing Jameis Winston, right? I mean,
his first season, they win the Super Bowl. He comes with it. I mean, he brings his team back this year at 44 years old or whatever. Yeah, they lost the game, and we've had that conversation before too. But he's 3 points away from going to another championship game. 20-something years, Mikey. He was in the championship game more than half the time. When you had Tom Brady at your quarterback, you had a trip to the conference championship game guaranteed. In this day and age, I just think that that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on the podcast, outside of the podcast, how the 20 years in New England that we're not going to see any dominance like that again. Even years that they didn't make the playoffs. Wait, were there years they didn't make the playoffs? I'm saying like that's how dominant they were, is that there was 1 year they didn't, and he went out with the knee injury, right?
Right.
And now they've got the rule about the lunging and everything, which is fine. You got to protect the quarterback, whatever.
But it's just, I mean, it's just, so getting back to it though, on your scale, where do you put him as far as all-time winners?
He might be at the top, I guess. I haven't really thought about that. Right. I mean, there has been like Floyd Mayweather in boxing, like he never lost a fight, 50-0.
Mhm.
Right. Now he's not a heavyweight. And
Yep.
so I don't think that in boxing, if there's a heavyweight that does something like that, and boxing's changed a lot,
Mhm.
right? It's just I don't know if it's really a sport that gets the traction like football will, at least here in America. You know, I know there's
Well, so
football,
that was one
soccer,
of the
you know.
comments there is Rocky Marciano. It was a heavyweight in, I don't know, the 60s, and he was
Yeah,
undefeated.
we could. I'll tell you this. I would have to look into it, but Tom Brady. I mean, nobody's won like him before in the NFL,
Mhm.
in football,
Mhm.
right? I mean, maybe Nick Saban down there in Alabama, right? But we're talking about like NFL.
But yeah, we're talking not the coach.
Yeah.
What does it do now for the landscape of the NFL? I mean, to me, you talk about a seismic shift in the NFL with Brady gone.
Joe, I think he's up there above Jordan in terms of winning. He might be in terms of winning, he might be the best winner in all. If you take the four major sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
Football, basketball, hockey, baseball.
Yep.
I mean, I think you got to go Brady.
I think so too.
I don't think anybody's won like him.
Again, I mean, if you want to go back to Babe Ruth time with the Murderers Row Yankees, I mean, but it's just such a different era now with free agency and salary caps. That, like I said, the fact that he was able to do it and continue doing it at such a high level. I'm sorry, I got a piece of hair that's driving me crazy. Is just amazing. I don't see it replicated.
It's what's weird is that it's like people want there to be a scandal. They're like he had to have been cheating, right? He had to have been on the juice or something. He had to be like watching tape or like deflating footballs or something. He had to be getting a competitive edge somehow. Nobody wins that long.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wins that much for that long. Like, how did he do it? It must have been like in his pads or something. Or I don't know. Maybe the coach is talking to him past the time, like, they can't talk to him like 10 seconds before the play or something like that. They're cheating somehow. And it's like, dude, they're not. Like they did their investigations. He's just, and I'll say this, Tom Brady isn't the most talented quarterback, right? He wasn't the most talented quarterback in the league. I'll say in terms of talent, there are better quarterbacks than him, but he's the best quarterback. You know what I mean?
Mikey, I'm going to cut you off here. I just got a tweet here. Somebody sent me a tweet.
Are you on Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter. No, I don't understand Twitter. I
don't do the tweets.
Somebody sent me a picture of a tweet. This just in: Tom Brady Sr. says that his son is not retiring, and an online publication started circulating an unsubstantiated rumor. However, a number of NFL insiders are reporting it. What do you think?
Look, I know, like from what I saw Schefter get on there, right, and give the speech about.
When I hear Schefter say it, I believe it.
I don't think that Schefter would, like hear it and then go report it. I think that he would verify and then verify that what he verified, you check and then you double check and then you run it by your manager. Hey, can we verify? You know what I mean? Can we roll with this? I mean, you don't just, because there are rumors that he was going to retire throughout the whole season, right? Like Big Ben.
Yep.
Right? Like Big Ben coming into the season, you knew it was his last season.
Mm-hmm.
For Brady, end of last season, had the MCL story, and then coming in this season, it's like, I don't know, he's 44. You know what I mean? He's getting up there in age.
Mm-hmm.
And, he even said right after he said as much to the effect of he's going to take some time to think about it after the season was in. So,
and he didn't take that long. He threw him right up.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, maybe it's just untrue, man. I don't know. Maybe somebody got the best of ESPN or something like that. I don't know. It's
salt on our parade here. We're gonna go on we're gonna go with the premise that Brady is calling it quits.
Everything I've heard says he's retiring. I mean, the major outlets are reporting.
We're going that route. We're saying that he's hanging him up for the premise of this show. Brady's hanging him up. And when I asked you a little earlier, you know, what that means now for the future of the NFL. Um, if you go back about 15 years or so, you know, this is, you know, prime Patriots dynasty, you know, right in the middle of it. Um, in the AFC, it was some sort of combination every year of Brady, Manning, um, Roethlisberger, I guess, to a
Yeah,
lesser extent.
Roethlisberger's in there. I think Philip Rivers was in there a little bit. He
And
never got
not
to
really,
Super
but
Bowl, but
those three were like they had separated themselves. And to me, I feel like we're seeing the new shift in that Allen and Mahomes have, you know, far separated themselves from the rest of the pack. And I think Burrow is right there with them now. I love what I see in that kid. And those three, I believe, are the future of the AFC for a very, very, very long time. Um, I don't see my loved Patriots. I don't see them having any sort of an answer for Jared Allen. Excuse me, Josh Allen anytime soon. I think it's Buffalo's division for quite a while because that kid is legit, and those three are going to shuffle for the AFC Championship. I think for a number of years.
I mean, maybe, right? I think that
Those three, I think,
still,
are they're as good as it gets. I mean,
well,
Mahomes has separated himself as the elite of the elite. I think the other two are just really, really good, and you know, they've separated from the rest of the pack. And I can see the AFC Championship coming down to some sort of figuration of those three for a long time.
yeah. I mean, I think that here's the thing, man, is that situation and fit is so important, right? It is like it might be the determining factor in how successful a player is, whether it's football, whether it's hockey, whether it's baseball, basketball, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I say that because there are some other good quarterbacks in the AFC, like Justin Herbert over there with the Chargers, right?
Yep, he's good.
And I mean, I've watched a few Charger games just to be like, man, I gotta watch Justin Herbert,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm just like, dude, this guy is legit. He is like
good.
he's make some throws where you're just like, nobody else is making that throw.
He can fit the tight windows as good as anybody there is.
You know, and so we see all this data, and then you look at, well, he plays with the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a franchise where the front office is just like, we got a football team, or you know, we're happy with that.
They're an organization that's never been able to get out of their own way.
Even when they had Philip Rivers, and Philip Rivers would go and win on the road in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, so you're making progress. And I think, you know, in Buffalo, I don't like the ownership there. The Pegulas, I think they're the same family that owns the Sabres.
But you know something, yeah, and they've been bad for a long time, but it really seems like they're doing right now by the franchise, by that fan base. You know, getting Steph Diggs was a great move. It was the perfect piece that they needed for Allen. You know, they got him Emmanuel Sanders. That kid that got 4 touchdowns in the playoff game last weekend. I think he was a practice squad receiver.
Yeah, Gabriel Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've got him weapons. They've built a hell of a defense. That team is going to be really good for a really long time. I always tell you, Mikey, when we talk that it comes down to the championships. That's I've always said, like, that's where I grade, you know, a player is how they perform at the biggest games. And the 2 losses that they've had in their 2 biggest games, they've been right in both of them.
I did, honestly.
You talk about having, you know, your lunch money stolen.
Yeah.
You had texted me the night of that game, and I had fallen asleep. Unfortunately, I had fallen asleep. I woke up to text messages from you and my dad, and I'm like, what the hell did I miss? So I immediately went online, and oh my God, you talk about just amazing. I mean, what Josh Allen did bringing that team back was just amazing. I mean, that was Brady-esque.
Yeah. And I understand. I think it's a valid comparison. You know, we're seeing the Mahomes, Allen battle back and forth is the new Brady Manning.
Like I said, I
Right.
mean, I think Burrow's right in there with them.
Yeah, Burrow. I'll tell you what. Cincinnati has a legit shot to win this game.
Right. They do. They do.
Let's not
Mikey,
overlook them.
there was a time when it was if you had a good defense, you had a puncher's chance, and that's still true.
Yeah.
But if you have the quarterback now, you have a puncher's chance.
Well,
in the NFL,
Yeah, I mean, and that last drive, Kansas City, 13 seconds, like Buffalo, what are
you
they
doing?
going to this prevent defense? Like,
right.
you gotta,
what are you doing,
man? Just like, come on, nobody's playing defense. Like, whoever had the ball last won, and that's how it went.
And that says a lot about McDermott's coaching. I mean, I think McDermott's a good coach, but he did not coach to win that game. I mean, he's the reason they lost that game. Either him or Frazier. You're in that type of coverage, allowing the middle. I mean, if Kansas City has no timeout, sure, you let them play the middle of the field. But you're talking about they have all three of their timeouts, and you're giving them the middle of the field. What are you doing?
Yeah. You just, I mean, and anyway, I mean,
and
it's still a great game.
The Bucs did the same thing against the Rams.
Well, the Bucs, they, man. I mean, why are you rushing everything? Just bring some pressure, right? Play the same defensive scheme that got you there, right? You don't have to. All right, man. We're sending everybody. Like, why?
Let's leave the best wide receiver 1-on-1 with 10 seconds left in the game. In a tie game. Like, what are you thinking there?
Yeah,
and that comes back to me. We've had a bunch of conversations about coaching in the NFL for a long time there. I thought the coaching in the NFL was terrible. In the last couple of years, I've seen, some changes, and the coaching seems like it's getting better. It's not just Belichick and everybody else. McDermott's done well, but it really scratches your head. Like, what the hell are you doing, blitzing everybody in that situation, leaving the best receiver in the game 1-on-1 with, like I said, 13 or whatever seconds left in the game, and not able to get the pressure in Stafford's face, and he's able to get up that beauty to Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's like this little balance that you got to have, right? You can't play too far off and play too safe and too cautious, but you can't get over aggressive where you lean too far in, you leave yourself open to get, to catch a shot. And in both cases, that's what happened, where, right, you rush forward, maybe you bring a little extra pressure, right? But you don't, right? You still got to play it safe in case, right? You gotta cover all your bases, man. And I don't know. So for the landscape of the NFL, for Brady's retirement, I think the NFC South now, as it stands today, is the worst division in football.
I mean,
I think Matt Ryan is like the only viable option down there at the quarterback position. The Saints.
If you're saying Matt Ryan, I mean, that says a lot about your.
Matt Ryan is still good. I mean, what happened to that guy, man?
He's not a good quarterback,
wasn't he? Like,
no,
he was.
No, he had one good year, and he's not a legit quarterback.
Oh man, I thought I don't know. I thought that was your boy coming out of college and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
No. Matt Ryan is not what I would consider, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's not the quarterback of Atlanta.
Dude, we were standing at duty section turnover, and I remember you were giving me an earful about my boy Matt Ryan, man. I was just like, whatever, dude. Detroit's going 0-16. Shut up. Like, yeah. I don't know. So if you're Tampa Bay. Well, in fact, the NFC in general, right? Like Rodgers might go over to Denver, and that puts him in the AFC. Right? The NFC East doesn't. I mean, you got Dak over there. Jalen Hurts isn't bad.
Mikey,
what's up?
I want you to put on your Bill Belichick cap real quick. Your Bill Belichick right now. I'm the GM of the Green Bay Packers. Calling you up right now. I'll give you Mac Jones straight up for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, 100%. Like, why would I not do that?
As Bill Belichick, you'd give up Mac Jones for Aaron Rodgers?
So I'm gonna get. I mean, it depends on the terms, right? If I can get Aaron Rodgers for another like 2-3 years, right?
Yep.
And you draft. There's got to be a quarterback coming out
Right.
in the next year, this draft or the next. There's always a quarterback coming out in the draft. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so now you're probably not going to be in position to pick them. So
No,
you're
not
going to
a-
be, you got to give up some stuff, which is what Belichick doesn't do. He's not he's not mortgaging the future to win now, which I
Mhm.
respect, which is the way you want to do it, which is one of the reasons they've been so successful. They're still successful with Mac Jones.
Well, because I'm going to tell you, me as Mr. Patriot, I'm doing it every night. I'm doing every day, twice on Sunday. Give me Aaron Rodgers. I will give you Mac Jones, and then I'll try to find the next guy in the draft.
Yeah, I'm with that. I agree. Like, why would you not? Because I mean, with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you just give yourself a better chance to win.
Right.
Green Bay
right.
should have won that game. Aaron Rodgers didn't lose that game. San Francisco had to score on a block punt.
Right.
Right.
Now, I'm going to preface it by saying I think Aaron Rodgers comes with a ton of baggage. He's a little bit of a whiner.
He's a little
bit. He's
to get to the playoffs.
Is he a winner, Mikey? I don't know if he's a winner. He's won a championship, but he's also choked. He's also choked time and time again in the playoffs.
I think all you guys just need to be Detroit Lions fans for like 2 seasons, and then you'll go back to your teams. Everybody just be a Lions fan for 2 years. Just give it a solid 2 years, right? Yep. If you're a fan of the Raiders, the Jaguars, the Washington football team, the Cowboys, whoever you're a fan of, the Seahawks, the Patriots, the Bills,
go be a Lions fan.
Abandon your team for 2 seasons. Come be Detroit, okay? And then go back to your team, just like, man, and you'll see. At least, I mean, dude, you're going to the playoffs are a whole new year. Playoffs are a whole new season, man. Now I'll say this: I gave the Patriots a legit shot to win that game. Didn't happen. Oh. That was just an embarrassment. But I think
it was an absolute embarrassment.
That was the 3rd time the Bills had seen the Patriots this year. That's the 3rd time. You think they're not going to learn something? Like, come
Mikey,
on,
listen. The Buffalo Bills have not only leapfrogged the Patriots, they have lapped them to the point that the Patriots had done to them in the past. That's how much better the Bills are than the Patriots right now. It is not even close. It is not even close. Their quarterback, the quarterback situation, which is all where it boils down to, is not even close. Mac Jones is not on the same planet as Josh Allen. The only reason why the Patriots beat them this season is because they had a freak storm with 700-mile-an-hour winds. It's the only reason. So the only chance that the Patriots have of leveling this out is if they get a better quarterback. Is Aaron Rodgers as good as Josh Allen? Yeah. So that's how it's done. You draft, you make the trade, you go get Aaron Rodgers, you make Aaron Rodgers your quarterback. You've now leveled the field a little bit, and then you hope to find gold in the draft. Mac Jones, maybe he'll be good. I don't believe it. I've told you that. I don't. From what I saw this year, I'm not a Mac Jones believer.
I mean, why are we?
We're getting a little off there, but
no. That's all right, man. I just don't think we should bail on the rookie. He's a rookie. He's played in big games at Alabama. There's a connection there between Belichick and Saban.
But isn't there sometimes that like the eye test that sometimes you can see it? And to me,
that's valid.
Listen, there's some numbers there that people can throw out. Oh, he had a 90-something% QB rating, 22 touchdowns. But you know what? The games that he was supposed to win, he won. The games he wasn't supposed to win, he did not win.
Yeah.
He didn't. He wasn't good. And that to me is just a sign of a decent quarterback. And if you want your franchise to win, you need to win the games that people don't think you're going to win. Brady did that all the time. That's what makes the great quarterbacks. Josh Allen just took that deep. Now, listen, I'm not blaming that loss on Mac Jones. Josh Allen took that defense behind the woodshed for an old school spanking. I mean, what was it, Mike? 7 drives, all touchdowns, probably more than that.
Yeah, you guys brought Matt Patricia back in, and I mean, I hate to say I told you so, but I don't think he's worth a damn anymore.
But I mean, so Now, that wasn't the only stinker of wild card weekend. I mean, I think all the wild
Nah,
card
there were
games.
some games. I'm all for playoff expansion,
Mhm.
right? But this wasn't. I mean, we weren't winning. This wasn't last second field goals or anything like last second touchdowns. I mean, some of these games were just, it was just a shellacking and or whatever other term, boat race behind the woods. It was just like, dude, did you watch film? I mean, just missed tackles all over the place, drop balls. I just looked like there's an obvious, difference in just, I don't know if you want to call it preparation, but it was just like one team was ready to go and ready to win.
Yep.
And the other team just was. I mean, the Patriots are always prepared, stuff like that.
That seemed like it was all the games on
wild card weekend. Yeah. It was just,
and then it was followed up by 4 of the best games I've ever seen. And concluding,
dude. Well, so in Tennessee right now, I like Tennessee, right? I think Vrabel's a great coach. He's in the coach of the year conversation. I mean, you lose Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill's your quarterback, and you still get the number 1 seed. And I'm in some group chats, where people think that Vrabel is for lack of a better, for not to use the exact language, he's a bad coach. And I'm on the, I think that's, I just don't waste my time with comments like that. I see that. And I'm just like, I think I'm being like
yeah, no, I completely disagree. I think Vrabel's a great coach. And I think that he's relied too much on Tannehill and he hasn't wanted to spend at the quarterback position. I think that team's a quarterback away from taking that next step.
If you're at Tennessee, are you looking at Aaron Rodgers?
Absolutely. You're looking at every situation out there and seeing what's going to be. You're looking at Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's an upgrade. I'm not even a fan of Matt Ryan, but that's an upgrade. Yeah. And there's a lot of names, Mike, that are supposedly going to be available this year. Like if that rumor that I just got was true, maybe Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady would be a great fit. Him and Vrabel get along great.
Yeah. So I mean, we had Tennessee and Cincinnati coming in there, and I think that if Tannehill doesn't throw those, if he doesn't, I mean, you can always use what happens in the game is what happens in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to adjust and adapt on the fly in sports in general. And
it's one of those ifs and buts were candy and nuts, but no, this is what happened, right?
Yeah, this is what happened. I mean, you threw the 3 picks, man, and I would say that's why you lost. But I mean, on the flip side of that, you can look at the Rams game against Tampa. They fumbled the ball, was like 4 times. I mean, kept Tampa in it the whole game, right? I mean, so
dude, what about that fumble when they were trying to run the clock out? How bad was that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that was terrible.
Yeah, so I think that for the Rams to be able to overcome that on the road, I think the Rams are the better team overall. You can't count out. Well, now you can count out Tom Brady, but you just right as long as you're able to have him on your team, right? There's 2 minutes left. Tom Brady's got the ball. Like, yeah, they're gonna win. And that's part of Tom Brady's legacy. If we circle back around to it, is that he is the guy. He was a player that if he had the ball last, your team would win.
You knew it was going to,
as long as you weren't down by like 3 touchdowns or something like that, which they rarely were. But Belichick knew that. Belichick knew, like, if my guy has the ball last, we have no timeouts, 2-minute drill, he can get it done. He can get me in the field goal range. He can get a touchdown if we need. And that's part of how great of a winner, a quarterback, Tom Brady was.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else is like that. And he was doing it in the playoffs, man. Super Bowls. Nobody else has done that.
No.
I mean, people have made Super Bowl comebacks, right? Like the Big Ben had one against Arizona. That was a great Super Bowl, by the way.
That was awesome. That was a great Super Bowl.
And I'll tell you this: if Kurt Warner wins that Super Bowl, is your opinion on him going to the Hall of Fame? No, he's still not in the Hall.
No.
2 Super Bowl wins with 2 different teams. Come on, Peyton Manning did it.
No. Kurt Warner does not belong in the Hall of Fame. Period.
All right. Does Tom Brady go to the Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah.
They should just give him the jacket right now. Like, forget the process. Just put him in.
Mike, Adam Schefter. I understand the advanced speculation about Tom's future. This is coming from his dad. So it's saying it's inaccurate, and that's from Schefter.
So is Tom Brady not retired now?
Mike, we might be breaking news on the Shipmate Sports podcast.
We might. Well, I think they're breaking news, right? I don't know. Our sources are.
Listen
our
to our
sources are
three
right here.
viewers. To our three viewers, you might have heard it here first, you three viewers. Tom Brady, might not be retiring.
Is he Brett Favre in it? Is he Brett Favre in us? Come on.
Oh no, not a season of this nonsense. I hate nothing more than that. Is he? Isn't he? Is he? Isn't he? Just say if you're going to play in him.
Is Schefter? Did Schefter say that? Who's saying this?
That's on Schefter's Twitter. It's the comment. It's the comment that I said earlier from his dad.
Is it Schefter saying it, or is it a comment on there?
It's a comment on there that Schefter.
All right, let's just wait. As far right now, here at this time, he's retired, and the football world is the reign of terror is over. You know,
the at Madden NFL 22 says, until at Tom Brady says it's official, there's still 12 seconds left on the clock, and Brady has the ball.
Well, I mean, even if he doesn't retire, which as of right now, I'm assuming he retired. And if he didn't, he's still the greatest. He's still the
perfect spot for him is Tennessee.
They got the run game. They got a decent defense. Coaching staff's good. You know, they don't need to go get any more wide receivers. Yeah.
It is the perfect spot for him. Tennessee Titans would be the absolute perfect spot for him. But I don't want to see that happen because I don't want to see Tom Brady be the guy that winds up wearing a bunch of different helmets at the end of his career.
I mean, you know, he's in Tampa. Him and Bruce Arians get along well.
No, right? Mikey, there's a lot of stuff coming out now that they're not seeing eye to eye, and Brady wants Arians out. A lot of stuff coming out on that now.
That's interesting.
And
I mean, Arians, he's not, you know, he's like the opposite of Belichick, right? He's he's not very rigid. He's kind of, you know,
and
he's more.
This could be buyer's remorse on Brady's side. Maybe he thought the grass would be greener with the looseness, but maybe he's seeing that he doesn't like that as much, and he wants.
Well, I mean, they had like 10 personal fouls in the first half in that game, and that's not those Patriots teams would never. Yeah, you look at like what the Cowboys did with all those penalties, right? The Patriots, they might have gotten beat, but they're not going to beat themselves. Right. That's one thing Belichick has always been, you know, really great at. But yeah, man, I think that if he retires, which as far as we know, he's retired, he's planning to announce his retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the greatest quarterback ever, man. We're never going to see the type of dominance, even this year, still in the playoffs, right? Getting to the second round, almost getting to the conference final, right? I mean, that's still a lot of teams don't get that, man. I mean, you're talking about, there's only 8 teams, right, left in the league at that point. Right now, there's 4, right? Soon to be 2. It just, you don't get that, man. You don't, it's almost like guaranteed with Brady, right? That's why people go play with LeBron, because they know, like, LeBron, if I go play with LeBron, I got the best shot.
Well, it's my dad here. It's writing the Gronkowski angle. Like, you know, Gronk's always said he'll only play with one quarterback. He'll only play for Tom Brady. Let's play the hypothetical game that he's not retiring and that he does go to Tennessee. If Gronk follows him to Tennessee, does that put a stain a little bit on Gronk's career that he's just kind of followed Brady around like a lost puppy type thing? Or is Gronk still one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game regardless?
I mean, you still got to produce, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter who you got throwing you the ball. No, I mean, it might help. It probably helps having Brady throw you the ball versus, I don't know who else, like Carson Wentz. I mean, Carson Wentz is still really good, but you know.
Say Carson Wentz is really good. We have a disagreement on really good.
You don't think Wentz is good? You don't think he's a really good quarterback? I wouldn't call him elite, you know. But
I think he could fill the role.
You don't have Daniel Jones throwing you the ball. All right. All right.
Fair enough.
But I don't know if it puts a stain on Gronk's career. right? Like, I'm only going to play with Brady. Does that mean he can't go play for Trevor Lawrence and still be productive?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
he's
I
not
wouldn't
doing it.
say that. Yeah. I mean, I would say it probably does. I mean, it puts that argument out there.
Right.
I don't think Gronk cares because Gronk wants to win,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't want to just go 9-8 now, right?
Right.
He wants to go to the playoffs, and he knows Brady. He knows Brady. They have a chemistry, right?
Yeah, and I mean, he had the comment that where he's if you asked him right now, he's leaning towards retirement. So, I mean, I think he's as good as gone anyway.
I'm not really concerned with Gronk, man. I mean, I think he's a factor on the field, especially with Brady. He knows
his better days are behind him. I think he's just kind of a role player at this point.
It's like a package deal, and that's another thing we haven't really seen before, right? Like, I mean, if Rodgers goes to Denver, is Devontae Adams going to go with him? I mean, probably not. Devontae Adams is asking for crazy money.
He's asking for huge money, and I mean, if Favre is to leave,
Favre.
Excuse me, my God, Rodgers is to leave. I think if you're Green Bay now, I can't remember that the last time that team had a rebuild. I mean, you're talking Favre to Rodgers. I mean, you're talking longer than the Patriots since they've had a rebuild.
I think that the Packers can do with a good long rebuild. Personally,
I'm assuming you, as an NFC North guy of the Detroit Lions, would not shed a tear if the Green Bay
rebuild
Packers,
for the rest of my life, baby.
Well, so if Rodgers leaves, there's no reason to bring back Adams. Just start over. Let him go. Spend the money elsewhere. Work on the draft. And accept the fact that more than likely, it's going to take a couple of years for a rebuild. And just like I said, just work from there. And it really is leaning towards, in my opinion, that Rodgers will go somewhere else next year. It definitely doesn't seem like he wants to be back in Green Bay. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. I'll tell you.
There's a lot of rumors, a lot of talk out there. But as that one commenter said on Twitter, and even as we're talking now, it's really not official until the player declares it.
Right.
Right. Whether it's Brady's retirement or Rodgers not being back in Green Bay. I mean, it's different circumstances because Rodgers is moving teams more so than announcing a retirement. So it's different in that manner. However, if we don't hear it from the horse's mouth, right now, I like before, I would like to believe, right? Because if Brady's not retiring, right, and Schefter comes out on ESPN and makes his video and puts it out there, right?
Yep.
What does that do to the credibility?
I don't know if you mean
did you rush it? Yeah, Schefter's credibility, not the player's credibility. Right, players just like, yeah, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. So now you hear, now you're running with it, right? Yeah. And so
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know if it bothers Schefter's credibility too much. I mean, yeah, maybe he jumped the gun.
This isn't. We're trading the third receiver to Houston, right?
This is the greatest.
This is Tom Brady's the greatest player that's ever played football.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you got to make sure this is accurate. Yeah,
you're right. This is one you got to get right. And if they didn't get this one right, it's probably not going to look good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to stop. I'm not deleting the ESPN app off my phone or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm boycotting it. You know what I mean? Like, come on. But I'm still saying, like, oh, they're putting it out there. Like, whatever, man. We'll see it when we see it. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Well, listen, let's just change gears real quick. Oh, look at you got the sun out there. I got Snowmageddon behind me.
Man, it's getting dark outside.
Yeah. It's getting snowy outside here.
Yeah, I need to turn another light on, man. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Dale, then listen, real quick. Conference championship games this weekend. What do you think? What do you like? What are you looking for? Go with
I think.
we'll start in the AFC. What are you looking at?
Well, I would like. There's two things I'm looking at because apparently Cincinnati beat Kansas City early in the season.
Okay.
So, number one, can Cincinnati protect Joe Burrow? 9 sacks in the game against Tennessee. Should have lost that game. Ryan Tannehill threw the game away.
Yep.
So, I think we're all gonna. Right. I think the offensive line for Cincinnati knows, like, hey, we got to do better. We can't be giving up, basically 10 sacks. You don't want to give up any sacks. Right. So I'll be looking at that. I'll also be watching the matchup between the the defense of Cincinnati. Right. How are they going to hold up? Are they going to bring extra pressure on Mahomes? What does that mean for their coverage? Right? If you can give Joe Burrow time, and you don't have to give him 5 seconds to throw the ball, right? But if you can give him time enough to throw the ball, Kansas City's in trouble.
Well, I'm looking at the stats here real quick, Mike, and that, I don't know if this is going to help you or not, but
no, it's not. I don't have stats in front of me. You're cheating.
No, Burrow 30
away, Joey. You ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
30 of 39, 446 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, 11 receptions for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kansas City better have an answer for that, huh?
Are you saying that's what happened last game, or is that over the playoffs? Or
no, that's what happened the last 2 times these guys played.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing, man. Kansas City during the season didn't have defense. They didn't have defense against Buffalo.
No.
Right. So, I mean, if Cincinnati plays defense enough, they can win that game.
These 2 teams, I don't think there's any defense between the 2 of them.
There's a little bit. I would actually.
This is going to be
Buffalo had a good defense, to be honest.
This is going to be a very high scoring game. It should be a very high scoring game. Ultimately, where it's in Kansas City, I mean, I'm always going to lean Kansas City in that situation.
Well, Arrowhead that's a home field advantage.
Right.
It's noise, loud. It is just, the crowd comes ready. I don't know what's in the water over there, but they got something going. I mean, you're talking about going to win another championship, right? If you win this, well, maybe, getting them, they're in position right now to win another championship.
Right.
Actually. Excuse me. So home field advantage is definitely a thing. As far as my pick for this game, I'm going to pick Kansas City.
Right. Me too. I'm right there with you.
And I just can't.
I don't see them losing at home.
I don't know. And honestly, I think Burrow's good enough to get there.
Absolutely.
I think Cincinnati can totally, whether it's in Kansas City or in Cincinnati, I think that I think Andy Reid's going to have it buttoned up. I don't know if Zach Taylor's ready.
Kansas City can win this game. Excuse me. Cincinnati can win this game. I would not bet on them. I'm going KC.
I think it's really close, man. I think it's really close. But I think what this is going to come down to is Andy Reid's a better coach.
Yep. Zach Taylor. It's Zach Taylor, right? Yeah. So I mean, I think we're on the same page with this one. It's in Arrowhead. Patrick Mahomes has been there. He's done that. The NFC one, I think, is a little bit more interesting. Just because I'm really intrigued with the 49ers. I really am.
They can bring pressure with 4.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that the Rams haven't beaten the Niners in like 50 years or some crazy statistic like that.
There is something there that they are just the voodoo of them. And it's just,
they beat them this season too, like
right.
the 49ers. And we've said it before, as long as Jimmy G's back there, that's a winning team.
My guy, Mikey. My guy.
I don't like Jimmy G, but the reason I don't like Jimmy G is because, he just seems like this guy that feels like he thinks he can go out there and run around and take hits and everything will be all right. And then he's not self-aware. To me, he's just not a self-aware person.
Mikey, would you take Jimmy G? Would you take Jimmy G as the quarterback of the Detroit Lions?
You're freaking right, I would. You kidding me?
Would you drop Jared Goff right now and take Jimmy G?
I don't know. I would. You see, the thing is,
Not
man,
even. Not this is not. It shouldn't even be a question. Like, I mean,
well, Jimmy G, he's been in successful positions his whole career. He was at the Patriots, which
wait
is
a minute. Wait a minute.
No, hold on. The Detroit Lions, okay, for a very long time until this past season, actually have had a horrible front office, horrible ownership from top down, right? And like we said before, you cannot overcome. It takes a special player to overcome environment, right? I guarantee you. Think about this, right? If your kid's going to school, you're somebody who's going to school, right? If they are in a negative environment at their house, they will not succeed 9 times out of 10. It scholastically, like academically.
No, I get that.
Right? No. This is the analogy. Okay, so you take that same kid who now has a supportive structure in place, whether it's parents, family, friends, whatever it is, right? That kid is going to succeed academically 9 times out.
I get what you're saying.
I don't know if Jimmy G
can
go into Detroit.
Listen, Mike. Listen. I'm going to cut you here. When the Niners traded for Garoppolo, they were 1-10 before he took over. They finished that season 6-10 with Garoppolo. He won the last 5 games.
Dude, who was the quarterback before Garoppolo?
Brian Hoyer and Beathard.
Okay. So basically, you had your defense in place, right? Offensive line was solid. All right. And then you put in a more talented quarterback. It's like we've been talking about, you got to have a quarterback. CJ Beathard. Who the hell?
They were getting smoked in some of these games. Garoppolo takes over, Mike, and they won 5 games. You're talking about a 1-10 team. They won 5. They were on pace for the number 1 pick. They won 5 straight games to close the season with Garoppolo. The guy wins.
All right. So, I mean, I don't know if Detroit right now is in a rebuild, man. That like Jimmy G goes in there with Kyle Shanahan, right? They go and like get their guy, right?
Yep.
The team is already compiled around him. I think they still had to go and draft like Deebo Samuel, George Kittle's there. They have viable options at running back. The offensive line and defensive line are solid. That defense when Jimmy G got there, didn't it have Patrick Willis on it?
Yep. I believe it did.
One of the best linebackers ever to play the game, man. Like, get out of here. You're talking. Don't give me this. Don't give me like he went to San Francisco, man. He didn't go to Jacksonville. He didn't go to Miami.
The team was 1-10, regardless of what was happening. They were 1-10.
Look, all right. Before Brady went to Tampa Bay, they were a joke. Brady gets there, they go win the Super Bowl. Brady gets second season, they're still in the playoffs. I don't know if Jimmy G is this turnaround type of quarterback. Look.
All right, listen. Wait.
Would I take Jimmy G over Goff? Yes.
He goes there. He goes 5-0 in his first run there. His second season is in his first full healthy season there. They go to the Super Bowl. They play well in that Super Bowl against Kansas City. Gets injured again. Now he's back for full season there in the NFC Championship game. The guy wins, Mike.
He's in a supportive environment. That's what I'm not saying. I wouldn't take Jimmy G. I'm saying that Detroit's not an environment for him. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, I mean, if that's your argument, then Detroit's not an environment for Tom Brady. It's not an environment. It's not an environment for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if that's your argument, I mean,
that's my argument, dude. Detroit is in a rebuild. Like, you're not gonna. It takes a special player, right? If Brady would have gone,
but it can't be a 30-year rebuild, Mikey. Eventually, there's going to be a guy that will be the one that fixes it and gets it right.
I hope so. I really do. You're right. I mean, you're right. It can't be a 30-year rebuild. I think that I think ownership should have been forced to sell the team a few years back because it's been so bad for so long. They won a playoff game back in '91. Like,
wouldn't that be interesting if the NFL came up with a rule like, listen, your team has not been successful in 30 years. That's it. You've got to put them up. You got this. You've done nothing.
I mean, I think the conversation should be had because everything starts at the top. You don't have to move the team to another city. I'm not saying let's take Detroit and move it to, Oklahoma City or something like that. No, but I'm saying just ownership.
Go away.
Right?
Get me.
You are not. you are not being productive with our product, right? We need you to bring in more money.
Who was the
And
general
here we have
manager that year after year kept making horrible decisions and they wouldn't get rid of him? This is going back 15
What,
years.
in Detroit or who?
Yeah, Detroit.
Bob Quinn, your boy from New England.
No. Before Quinn. This is when we were in the Navy. This is going back.
Oh, man.
This is going way back.
You
He's
got
old-
to, nah, yeah.
the one that kept drafting wide receivers.
Yeah, Matt Millen.
That's it, Matt Millen. And
I
and
still,
like,
let's not talk about Matt Millen.
but it's just
I've been having a good day.
well, no.
you
So this is
know.
my point, though. Is if you see these things happening and you do nothing about it, you're not doing anything to better your franchise. Move on. The NFL should. I think that's an interesting thing. It's a conversation for another time.
And anyway, look, I'll say
the
straight up, I would take Jimmy G over Jared Goff.
Yep.
All right. I wouldn't right now in the positions that they're in. I think that if Jimmy G comes to Detroit, there's probably an uptick in productivity, right? But are they going to the playoffs? There's still more that needs to be done in that franchise.
Sure.
I think they're on the upswing. I think they're trending in a positive manner.
Yep.
But I just think that there's still building that needs to be done. And I don't know if Jimmy G overcomes that.
Right.
I think Tom Brady could, right? I mean, I think Tom Brady in Detroit, not, maybe like 2 seasons ago, right? He's a type of player. I think Mahomes is like that, right? You put Mahomes in there, right? Anyway, man, Rams and Niners.
Right.
I'd like to pull for my boy Stafford. Who's a better quarterback, Stafford or Jimmy G?
Jimmy G. Stafford's the better quarterback.
I think from a talent perspective, I'd go Stafford.
Talent, it's not even a question. It's Stafford, but
I think
Jimmy's accomplished more.
Everybody's accomplished more than Stafford, bro. That's Jared Goff's accomplished more than Stafford. All right.
That's true.
However, if Stafford gets to the Super Bowl, right, I think it's a different conversation. If Stafford gets to the Super Bowl, is he in the Hall of Fame?
Stafford right now is Drew Bledsoe.
He needs to win it to get it.
Stafford
wins the Super Bowl with LA this year. Is he in? You put him in.
I mean, do I? No. Does he get in? Yes, because that's just kind of, you win a Super Bowl as a quarterback, you're in the Hall of Fame. Me? No. Like I said, I put him on par with Drew Bledsoe, who was a good quarterback, but nothing more than a good quarterback. He was good enough to win you. He might get you to the playoffs here and there. He might win you a division here and there, but ultimately he's a good quarterback, nothing more.
And that's Jimmy G in?
No, not yet. No, I mean he's only played 2 or 3 full seasons. No, listen, Mike.
I agree. I don't think as it stands right now. I don't think either of them get it. They're really good, but you don't.
We've had
just start
many
putting everybody
conversations
in the hall.
We've had too many conversations about this. And we're not talking baseball today, but the baseball Hall of Fame voting was this weekend, this past week, and I just think across the board, getting into the Hall of Fame has just become just a joke. Like who gets in, who doesn't. Like it really is a joke. But getting back to the NFC Championship game. Did you say the Rams? You said you guys Stafford?
I'm leaning. It's like 51-49.
It's really
percentage. It's very close, but I'm leaning to the Rams.
Right. Okay.
But dude, I think that the Niners. It's so close, dude. I mean, because I think they bring pressure with 4, right? And Stafford under pressure, he starts just chucking it. The old, he's not afraid to throw an interception.
Yeah.
And that's what he does, man. He buckles under the pressure.
I like the Niners, Mikey. I really do. I think there's just some sort of something there with them this year. I love Jimmy. I've always been a huge fan of Jimmy. I wish that, his stay in New England, had lasted. And, basically it sounded like, Brady was the one that wanted him out of town, which, really pissed me off.
Yeah. No, Brady knew that he was going to have to leave because Belichick was like, yeah, man, like, I don't know how much longer Tom's going to be productive, and they can't pay 2 quarterbacks starting money.
And I don't fault Bill at all for that. Brady was getting old.
It's
nothing.
it's what you do. I mean,
Right. Right. And that really put a sour taste in my mouth against Brady. Like, listen, like, you see what the Packers just did? The Packers went from, 20 years of whatever it was, 15 years of Brett Favre. They rolled right into Aaron Rodgers.
dude, and it's what the Niners are going to do with Jimmy G and Trey Lance, provided Trey Lance can, play. But I mean, all indications he can. I mean, we don't have anything saying he can't.
Right. I mean, you talk about a situation that they're going to be in. If the Niners go out and win. Now, listen, I get it. Jimmy G is not the reason why the San Francisco 49ers are in the NFC Championship. He is not the main reason why. If you made a pie chart of reasons why the Niners are in the NFC Championship, he'd have, I'll give him 20%, maybe even a little bit less. But he's still a part of it. And he's still a reason. He's still there. To me, it's like, do you stay with what you know? Who the last two full seasons, if they win, we're going to go with the hypothetical that they win. His 2 full seasons in San Francisco, he gets you to the Super Bowl. Why would you turn the page on that when he's still? I don't even know if he's going to be 30 next year.
Yeah, no, I don't think that you just start.
I mean, they've already said that they're committed to Lance.
So what I would do if I was a franchise in the NFL is that it's okay to have a viable option at the backup quarterback position.
There's nothing wrong with it.
If your starting quarterback
goes down, it's the best way to do it.
If you look at the 4 teams right now that are left outside of San Francisco, the other 3 teams are completely up the creek if their starting quarterback goes down. Mahomes goes down, who you putting in? If Burrow goes down, we saw what happened there. If Stafford goes down, good luck. If Jimmy G goes down, you can still put in Trey Lance and you have a viable option. Mm-hmm. And the other 3 teams don't. And that I get blue in the face in this argument with other Lions fans, because when Stafford was there, and if Stafford went down, which he did, we had Jeff Driscoll. We had nobody basically, Chase Daniel at the backup position. And right. I'm like, why not just draft a rookie? Right? Cheap option. All right, you can still sign your veteran, offensive lineman to come in, or offensive, or defensive back, or defensive lineman, to come in and help out. So you're not hamstrung at the quarterback position. You have a guy who can learn, who can also be the future. And so, and the rookie also probably has more, there's less film out there on him as well. So, you draft a rookie, he comes in, learns from the starter. Now, if the starter has a problem with it, okay, well, you got a problem with competition all of a sudden? Like, right. We're drafting your eventual replacement. We're not drafting your replacement for this year.
Brady's big thing his whole career was being the team guy, taking the team-friendly contracts, this and the other thing. And then he wants to go pout about the fact that they brought in competition. You can get out of town. Like,
I mean, if anything, it helps you, right?
Right. And he really turned into a whiner his last few years here. He turned into a little bit of a prima donna, a little bit of a whiner. He's kind of been like that, for a few years now. I still love the guy. I still think he's the greatest. What he did for the Patriots, as a fan, I'll be forever grateful for. But
20 years, Joe. 20 years.
Yeah, but that's But the fact that he did that, and forced Garoppolo out of town, and I don't have the weapons around here. You know what? Just shut up and play the game. But I'm going with the 49ers. I think it should be an interesting game. I think the games are 3 and 6 tomorrow, Mike.
Yeah, I thought there was a game today, man. I was getting geared up for that. Then I finally checked the schedule. I was like, oh, okay, they're both on Sunday. So whatever. But yeah, man, like I'm very close on this game. I think that I really, it's kind of like flip a coin for me. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's whoever has the ball last wins. I don't think it's like that.
No. I mean, I definitely think that. I think that's. City. I would definitely say that in the AFC game. The NFC game, though, I think it's gonna be low scoring. And I think if it's a low scoring game, it definitely favors San Francisco.
I agree.
And I think that they can do the ground and pound, and I think that they can just keep the St. Louis offense off the field, and that's how they'll play it.
I mean, this is the 3rd time that they have faced each other this year.
Yep.
So, because they're division rivals. So this game may very well go in the Rams' favor.
I mean, they are home.
They are home. And I mean, the Niners have just owned the Rams, right? This season and throughout years past, like McVay has not been able to beat Shanahan. But I think, you've got so much film on each other, so much experience. This might be a game where the Rams are just like, okay, well, I know their tendencies, their calls, their looks, their motions. Maybe they can come. I mean, but it goes both ways, right? Like,
right.
So, I mean, I lean the Rams barely, 51% to 49%. And maybe that's just me with Stafford or something like that. But I cannot. I don't know what I tell you about confidence. So,
well, Mike, I think we're rolling up on an hour, dude.
Are we? Maybe we. I haven't been keeping time. Whatever.
But I think we got a
Tom
bunch
Brady's
of good stuff.
retiring, man.
That's it, man. Greatest. Once we know more, we'll get back in there, and I think probably the day of the Super Bowl we'll get on. What do you think?
It is the end of an age.
That's it.
We should do this like Super Bowl Sunday.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking
that'd be like a pregame show.
Shipmate Sports podcast on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man. Maybe we can get eventually we can get credentialed and go to a Super Bowl.
I was gonna say maybe we'll be there. Maybe we'll be on the sidelines.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm not paying for it. I don't have that kind of money. So
maybe we'll be.
I don't think anybody who has that kind of money. You know what I mean?
We're gonna get sponsored, Mike. What do you think?
We got to get sponsored or something. maybe a few years from now or something.
That's it, brother. We'll have our own table on Radio Row. We'll be right near, the ESPN guys.
Yeah, we can listen to get it right the first time, right?
Yeah, right. We can listen to Stephen A. yell and scream.
I can, you can hear him all the way down here from their offices and up there by you, right?
That's
up there
right, Connecticut.
Yeah.
But, all right, Mikey.
All right, man.